Welcome back to a new post today. And today let's speak about something related to climate, and that's about climate justice. So we all know that justice means being righteous, equitable, and providing moral rights to the backward classes. Especially it means providing equal opportunities to all those who are backward, on par with those who have the same opportunities for development as well. We have been hearing this concept of climate justice very frequently, especially during the COP meetings, that is a conference of parties to the United Nations framework for climate change, and many a times during many days which we commemorate for your environmental or for the environmental causes. So climate justice recognizes the disproportionate impact of climate change on many backward communities, especially the low income nations, the middle income nations, the smaller nations, the backward people, the low income people, women, children mostly, and also those people who are displaced due to war. So it sees that climate change has its impact variedly on different types of people, and this injustice because of climate change. The reason why climate change has occurred is because of the actions of few developed countries who have had their goals of development achieved very early with the blessings of fossil fuels, that is petroleum, diesel, etc., which led to the release of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, and today we are bearing the brunt of these greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. But now there are many countries who have got independence very late, and they are now into the process of development. They are still backward, they are still low income, but now we bear the brunt of the ill effects or the negative effects of climate change, and therefore many countries and many organizations call for climate justice. That is, the countries who have contributed to climate change, they have to help the countries who are poor, who are backward, to deal with the after effects of climate change, that is global warming or greenhouse gases, your heat island effect, heat waves, lesser rainfalls, drought conditions, etc., and also the emergence of various kinds of new diseases, etc. So this concept of climate justice therefore recognizes the disproportionate impacts of climate change variedly on different communities. Climate justice as a term is used to framing a global warming as an ethical and a political issue rather than one which is just purely environmental or physical in nature. And this is done by relating the effects of climate change to the concepts of justice, and particularly environmental justice and social justice, and by examining issues such as equality, human rights, collective rights, and historical responsibilities for climate change by few developed countries. Now, the low income countries, people of different color, race, indigenous people, people with disabilities, women, children, old, young, men who work out and all day long, women are more susceptible to the risks posed by climate impacts like storms, floods, increasing wildfire, the severe heat or the heat island effect in the urban areas, poor air quality, access to food, water, and also disappearing shorelines and also sinking islands as well. So here are some of the some examples of how exactly climate change can impact the different types of people are that communities will get more, they are at the risk of air pollution with increase in greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, and this can can accelerate diseases like skin diseases and also lung diseases as well. Senior people with disabilities and people with chronic illness may fall sicker over a period of time. Their immunity might weaken. They can have a hard time living through the periods of severe heat also, and not being able to quickly and safely evacuate themselves from storms or fires. Wildlife is in danger because of increasing wildfires during the hot summer seasons, the scorching heat. Especially people with limited income who live in the subsidized housing, they also usually start feeling the heat effect of the urban areas, and also floods impact them. Their housing options may be very limited to insulation and air conditioning as well, having the effect of heat on them. Economically challenged people may also be hard pressed to afford to work during the flood-like situation situation. They cannot even afford insurances for themselves. They cannot afford to rebuild their homes, pay for the steep medical bills. This increases the out-of-pocket medical expenditure as well. Now, language barriers also make it very difficult for the people who migrate out from these areas, who face the worst of the climate change, like the drought-prone areas, the flood-prone areas, the heat, the hotter areas, etc. For them, migrating out and staying in other countries definitely makes it more difficult for them to get into a citizenship, or even staying and getting a job, as well as protection for women and their family members as well. So migrating out definitely is not one of the situation, but definitely they face these impacts due to climate change as well. Apart from communication becomes a hazard for them, they are looked as non-state actors related to security issues, and definitely not welcomed by many countries. Children are displaced, it increased to human trafficking, women are trafficked, some indigenous communities lose out on their customs, their nature, their own homeland, etc., losing of livelihoods, and this leads to the displacement and disadvantage and backward development of many of these people as well. Rising sea levels pose a threat to the coastline, the fishing communities, and also a security threat to the people living near the coastal areas as well. We have already seen this in Chennai and also Kolkata very recently. Prolonged drought and flood affect the agriculture. Mainly the farmers, especially the small and the marginal farmers, are more at a risk side. Along with that, women who do 99% of the work in the agriculture fields will be facing a risk of the climate change, and therefore climate justice speaks about protecting their rights and also protecting them from the adverse effects of climate change as well. Apart from that, healthy food will become an option only for few who can afford them, and not to the people who are remained backward, or those who have a very low income. Youth will find it very difficult to start finding jobs, because then because of the heat and the heat island effect in the urban areas, they will have they will have the lethargy of continuing to work. It will affect their physical health, and therefore they might lose out on many jobs as well. So climate change has its profound impact on many people, or in different types and different stages and in different levels as well. Climate justice speaks about the countries who have achieved the goals of development now to do their part for these countries and for these people, so that the other people now who are growing, who are taking steps to development, the poor and the middle income countries, they have sufficient opportunities to reach that state of development in which the developed countries are and their population is. So climate justice, something related to climate change, and also this is discussed in the sustainable development goals which we have to achieve by 2030. I thought it was very important for me to discuss this during this time where it has been in discussion during recently around, and also we are now going to face the COP summit of 29. So the place also is being discussed and being decided to hold the conference of party to the United Nations Framework Convention of Climate Change. And as we have elections around the corner, so political parties should also take up this issue by delving into the concept of climate justice, because welfare not only means social welfare but also environmental welfare as well, because it's something which will protect your jobs, health, and also the environment. So if you feel that these points were really helpful to you all, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to comment at the end of the video. And please have to ponder on what you can do to ensure climate justice in your neighborhood. Small acts of responsible individualism will definitely help. So with this note, I think please do like, share, and subscribe, and I shall see you in my next post. Until then, it's very happy learning.